Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I am talking about the love of money and the issues that are connected with it. The love of money and the issues that are connected with it. And there are many issues. Issues that maybe you have already thought about that I'm going to get into, or some issues that you never bothered to think about it. And those issues might be affecting the reason why some people are not getting blessed. The love of money. Some folks love money more than they love their own children, their spouses, and anyone else they encounter. They are like the stingy person who takes money and stuffs it everywhere. And when someone comes along and says, I need $5, they say, I don't have any money. The love of money. The love of money is the root of all evil, according to the Bible. And that evil is what we are going to zero in on. That evil that's connected with the issues. People argue about money. They fight, they kill, and they steal money. They will even tell people that they don't have it when they really do, as I mentioned in the example. And so when God sees that there is a big issue brewing concerning money, what do you think he does? I will tell you that I've witnessed people lose money. I have also noticed that people, no matter how much they save, they end up having to spend more money on all sorts of issues, problems, you name it, that arise. I've seen where God blessed them and then turned around, and all the money that they got ended up going into some other things. Some people have a hatred for money. It's not that they even love it, it's just they hate it. They get it and then they want to waste it. They want to give it all away. They don't manage it. They don't do too much of anything. And why would they have a hatred about money? Because they saw what others have done with money. And it made them sick. Sick to their stomach. And so when money shows up in abundance, they don't have no problem giving it away. Years ago, a woman received an inheritance, and she picked me to share this inheritance with. And I was elated at first. I mean, this was not someone that was a relative. This was someone who saw that I was doing a good job at the workplace. She happened to be an individual who would just come by every now and again, and she said she wanted to bless me as well as my family. And so I noticed, though, that her relationship with the money wasn't so good. She received the money from her mother, and her mother, who had passed away, had her own connection to the money. A connection that didn't seem like it was a good one based on how the daughter spent the money. Oh, she bought all sorts of things. And then she asked me if I needed some things. And being that I had 2 small children, well, I needed some things. And she met my needs and then went on to meet some other people's needs as well. And we were all quite happy. But we also saw that there was something else going on with her concerning that money. It gave her much pleasure to see that other people were being blessed by the money. I don't necessarily remember whether or not she was really close to her mother, but evidently her mother did love her daughter and cared for her daughter. And so she wanted to make sure that after her passing, that she would still be cared for. When money is used the right way, people will feel good about it. But when money is used the wrong way, people will have many worries, many concerns. And not only that, they will cause some division, some upset among their loved ones as well as others. Some people have evil intentions when they receive money, and their evil intentions is to exert power and control typically. So if they can get you to behave in a certain way by using money, they will. If you are one who is desperate for money, you will put up with just about anything to get your needs met. Some people have put the Bible on the shelf for money. They have sold out because they needed this and they needed that, and they didn't feel like God was moving fast enough. So they did some things illegally, irresponsibly, and caused many hardships for themselves as well as others. The money comes and the money goes. And so do the relationships. As long as the person has the money, we're all good. As long as the person doesn't have the money, we're not all good. And this isn't always about the external influences around a person who has the money. Sometimes it's just how they are. They feel like they are a whole person as long as they have the money, but they feel like they are less of a person when they don't have it. And so because they have their own personal issues with money and how it defines them, they mistreat other people, but yet they'll blame folks that they've changed and all you want is me and my money. Or maybe not necessarily me, but just the money, you see. But that's not always true. Some people, they will stand by a broke person because they simply love them. They simply care for them. They have grown accustomed to being around them. Whether they have money or don't have money, they just love that person. And people around them will even say, he's broke. He can't do anything for you, but I love him. And it doesn't matter. I don't care. I just want him in my life. Others, money means a lot. And if a person doesn't have it, then they say, well, I don't have any room for you in my life because the agreement was that you were going to spoil me. You were going to take care of me. You were going to do all these things and you're not doing any of them. And so I have to move on. Okay? It all depends on what the agreement, the relationship, the connection is to money. And some people have a poor relationship, poor connection, and poor understanding of money. So for those individuals who have this struggle with money, this love of money, I encourage you to read books that will help you understand what is going on when you spend money, when you save money, when you give money away, when you hide money, when you lie about money. What exactly is going on? Many people who grow up in impoverished atmospheres tend to be hoarders when it comes to money. And if you don't recognize that maybe you're partnered with a hoarder, you're going to act just like that person. And then, of course, God doesn't bless people who do that sort of thing over a long period of time. They may look good today, but then over time, you start to see that they don't look so good any longer. They don't look good physically. They don't look good financially. They are just a mess. And then they're trying to keep up with their health and so forth. And then they find themselves spending so much money on that by the time they close their eyes, they don't have anything. They go from having much to having very little. And God will allow these things to happen when people have a bad concept when it comes to money, and yet they call themselves Christians. Okay? I think Christians have it worse when it comes to money because of the mindset, because of their disconnect from the one true God, because they choose to not educate themselves. They choose not to be wise with it. And so God tends to do some things to teach a Christian a lesson or two about money. Many believers have died broke. Many believers have been disheartened as a result of receiving much wealth because their understanding of money was just negative from the start. And if you have bad examples around you, you typically repeat the same behavior until someone comes along and says, that's not the way you should behave concerning this money. You need to do some things that are better. You need to invest it. You need to save it. You need to donate. You need to pay your bills. And stop worrying about other people and what other people are doing with their money. And stop trying to keep up with the Joneses by buying everything that the Joneses have, by trying to be front and center like the Joneses. God not only has a plan for our lives, our spiritual well-being, but he also has a plan for our money. And sometimes people are okay with God being in their life, just don't touch my money. And that's not how it works, saints, sinners. That's not how it works. When you pray and you ask the Lord for things, and you ask the Lord to bless you with ideas and inventions, and you want the Lord to prosper you, you have to be willing to do the things that he wants you to do. Bless the ministries. Bless the people that are feeding into your life. Bless those that need, as well as those that don't necessarily need, but God has just called you to put something in their hand. It took me a while to figure some of this stuff out because I was one who assumed that everything that God was doing in my life, that it was, of course, for my good, but I also recognized that there were times where I attributed things to Satan when in fact it was really God. It was God testing me on the money. It was God testing me on how I communicated about the money, who I gave money to. I mean, I went through so many tests, and even now I continue to go through some things to help other people, though. Not just about me, but about other people too. So take a look at where your money is going. Collect those receipts. Start calculating up the things that you're spending money on. Take a look at those totals and start cutting away some of the frivolous spending and start putting the money toward some things that are going to help you, not just materially, but spiritually as well. There are many people that want to start up all sorts of projects, organizations, you name it, to better humanity, and they can't do it because there's just not enough money coming to the organizations, because people are too busy spending money on the ungodly stuff. They're too busy giving money to people who are undeserving. They're too busy talking about they're going to do some things with their money, but meanwhile they are hoarding it. Then there are others who simply don't have any money. They just don't, not to give away. And so we just ask that the Lord will prosper them, and that the Lord will see them through, and that the Lord will guide them toward opportunities so that they can receive more money. And it's not always going to come from you. Sometimes children think that the money's always going to come from the parent. And meanwhile, God says, no, I got somebody right around the corner that's going to bless you far more than what your loved ones could have ever blessed you. And then sometimes the mandate or the order or the prophetic message is given to a loved one, a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, a cousin, an uncle, what have you, to bless someone within the family. And they struggle with it because they don't like certain things, because they had a falling out, because they heard something through the grapevine. That doesn't matter with God. What he wants is for you to be obedient. So I've shared this message, and I thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen. To God be the glory. Please do check the description box for anything that may be of your interest. Also, you've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Please subscribe today. And if you haven't given, please be a blessing and give. Thank you for listening.